So William is not taking any more crap from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. He's now considering all options, including legal routes, to stop his younger brother, who he views as a treacherous soul these days, from exploiting Princess Diana for money and allowing Meghan Markle to exploit Princess Diana for money so she is in some way connected by the public with that amazing woman. And this is all about the fact that Harry is going against an agreement that was made by the brothers at the 20th anniversary of Diana's death to no longer exploit her memory, to stop talking about her for good. But William has learned of this plan by Harry and Meghan to mark the 30th anniversary of Diana's death next year with a major documentary series likely for Netflix, which of course does go against that principled agreement. Now, what's interesting to me, and what we're going to discuss today, is whether William actually would be able to do this. Because of course he can appeal to Harry's morality, but does Harry have a sense of morality anymore? I would argue not, after the way that he has trashed his own family for the past 6 years. Legally, does what was a gentleman agreement made in public really mean that Harry could be stopped from doing this? I would be surprised. But I'm going to take you through this reporting. Then we'll get analysis from our Royal Mastermind and Prince Harry's biographer, Angela Levin. But this is very interesting reporting from Radar Online, which says that Prince Harry is set to lawyer up on Prince Harry to stop him and Meghan churning out what they describe as a sickening Princess Diana 30th death anniversary doc. Now, this story is written by Aaron Tinney, a long-time British tabloid reporter with connections to the royal family. And he writes, Prince William is said to be prepared to take legal advice over plans by his brother Prince Harry to produce a documentary marking the 30th anniversary of their mother, Princess Diana's death. Project sources have told Radar Online the future king finds the project sickening and deeply depressing and distressing. Their words actually are distressing, I should get that right. Harry and his wife Meghan are understood to be developing the Diana documentary project as part of their multi-million-dollar deal with the streaming service following their decision to step back from royal duties. Sources said the film would examine Diana's life, her treatment by the media and the monarchy, and the impact of her death on her sons. According to insiders, the prospect of revisiting Diana's story in a commercial production has reopened old wounds between the brothers. But one source said Harry, I would argue Meghan, is determined to proceed. Harry is utterly convinced that commemorating his mother is something he has an inherent right to do as her son. In his mind, Diana's memory is not the property of the institution or something that requires his brother's consent. He strongly resists the idea that the palace or anyone else should have the authority to decide how her life is remembered or presented. The source added William's growing anger over the prospect of the film being in planning has been intensified by Markle's role behind the scenes. And that's interesting to me, because I think William would concede that Harry at least has a right to talk about their mother. But for William, the idea that Meghan is going to keep trying to piggyback on Diana, which is something that she has done now for some time, is of course going to be disturbing. And the source added, what has struck a nerve for William is the extent of Meghan's role in the project. He feels that allowing her to influence or derive any benefit from Diana's legacy crosses a deeply personal boundary, and he experiences it as a betrayal of his mother rather than a tribute. And I think it is. Because what you've seen from Harry and Meghan is that they have tried to exploit Diana's memory to back up their bid for the destruction of the British royal family. And I repeat, for those of you who believe Harry's narrative, that Diana was highly critical of her husband, King Charles, and yes, publicly made clear that she believed he should never take the throne because he was going to marry this divorcee in Camilla, and that the crown should pass directly to William. But did she ever try and destroy the British monarchy? Absolutely not. Quite the opposite. Another insider said Harry's motivations stem from long-held grievances. Harry has long felt that his mother's life and death have been poorly handled by those meant to protect her. He believes that at critical moments when Diana needed empathy and support, the institution failed to provide it. As a result, he does not see the monarchy as a credible custodian of her legacy and is adamant that her story should be told outside palace structures. Well, you can understand that that is how Harry is going to feel, right? And that's probably where William does have some agreement with Harry. Certainly, they both ask questions about the circumstances relating to her death. But what this article misses is the fact that that's the reason William and Harry produced these two landmark documentaries, one for the BBC, one for ITV, for the 20th anniversary, because that was their option of actually preserving her legacy. That was how they chose to do it. And so to say now that in some way that 20th anniversary documentary was hijacked by the palace is just wrong. They've already done it. Harry is doing this for money. Meghan is doing this for money and clout.
Tensions surrounding Princess Diana's legacy are once again dominating royal headlines. And this time, the focus is on Prince William's reported frustration over what some critics describe as the continued public use of his mother's memory. Dan is joined by our Royal Mastermind Angela Levin to analyse the growing debate and the speculation that firm steps could be taken to protect Diana's legacy. While there has been no official confirmation of legal action, the conversation itself signals just how deeply personal and sensitive this issue remains for the future king. Is this about safeguarding Diana's memory, setting boundaries within the royal family, or drawing a line between private grief and public storytelling? In this segment, we separate verified facts from online speculation and examine what this could mean for relations between William, Meghan, and Harry moving forward. Like this video for balanced royal analysis. Subscribe for the latest royal updates and expert commentary, and comment below. Should Diana's legacy be protected more strictly? Because when it comes to Princess Diana, emotions and consequences run deep.
Radar Online goes on to report that that position places Harry directly at odds with William. Sources said the Prince of Wales views the project as exploitative. Well, it clearly is. From William's point of view, this crosses a line that none of their past disputes ever approached. He feels that transforming his mother's life into marketable content is deeply distasteful, and he firmly believes Diana herself would have been appalled by the idea of her story being repackaged for profit, especially by a global streaming platform. The involvement of Netflix has further inflamed tension, and this is where things get interesting, because of course the company also produced The Crown, a dramatization of royal history that William is widely reported to dislike. Netflix is a huge trigger for William, a source said. He has never hidden his anger about The Crown, and this feels like reopening a fight he thought should be over. And just a reminder, of course, that when it comes to The Crown, William was particularly disgusted by the fact that not only did they recreate the death scene, they stored a smashed up version of the car. They made their mum come back to life. They were really creepy in terms of the presentation of Carol Middleton in the drama to suggest that she in some way had conspired with Catherine in order to meet William. So there's a whole load that William doesn't like about The Crown. But I think he doesn't disagree that, of course, a private company can do whatever they want. The difference is that William felt that Harry was almost endorsing The Crown. Do you remember in that interview with James Corden when he was asked if he watched it, and he actually said, yeah, I have. And I think it's better than a lot of stuff that's written in the newspapers. So that's William's real problem with Netflix and The Crown. The fact that Harry gave this drama, which caused so many issues for the family, a tacit endorsement. Now, Radar goes on in its report Sources now said William is exploring ways to halt any 30th death anniversary project on their tragic mother. A palace aide warned William is prepared to take this as far as necessary. He is actively exploring every available obstacle that could be placed in the project's path, from legal avenues to institutional influence, and he is willing to use whatever leverage exists to challenge it. Now, this is where I have to bring a reality check to this situation, I'm afraid. I understand why William feels this way. I actually feel his anger. I feel his disgust. I think he's right to feel that. Do I believe that there is any realistic legal route to him in some way stopping this documentary? I do not believe so. I do not believe so. Because there was nothing signed between William and Harry. It was a gentleman's agreement made public between brothers. William felt it deeply. Harry was able to throw it out the door the moment Meghan Markle came along. And I just think William will absolutely consult with lawyers. He might make a threat, but in reality, I don't believe he will be able to stop this project on a legal basis. But Angela Levin, that doesn't make it morally right, because of course, what we know is that Harry absolutely was in lockstep with William, that after the 20th anniversary, after these two landmark documentaries for the BBC and ITV, that would be it in terms of big media around anniversaries of Diana's death. That was a decision they made as brothers. And I think by going against this decision, William has every right to feel betrayed by Harry. I think that is absolutely fair. I just doubt that he will actually be able to stop this. Am I wrong?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I've got no idea about that. But he is the heir to the throne, and I don't think that there are many companies that really want him to be absolutely disgusted by them. I don't think that's a good idea for anybody. And I would hope that if he couldn't do it via legal things, that actually to be very, very sure how you could actually affect something like that, that someone would not want to have that for the heir to the throne, or even next year. I hope not, but you never know.
But Harry has no shame about this stuff, Angela, does he?
No, but the company that's doing it might not want to do that, because it would be very difficult for them should they want to do anything else. If they wanted to come to anything that he was at.
Okay, so this is a really interesting point, Angela. William, so what you're saying is William could effectively appeal directly to Netflix or whatever streaming giant was going to take this on. The slight problem with that, of course, is that now that there's a first look arrangement in place rather than an exclusive deal, Harry and Meghan, if Netflix turned it down, could offer it up to Apple TV or Amazon. But it is an interesting point, because Netflix has gone into business with Idris Elba and King Charles on this new documentary. And you're right, they might not want to rule out future projects with William and Catherine. So you're saying perhaps the warning could be made directly to Netflix. I hadn't thought of that.
Yes, I'm sure about that. And the other thing is that there are excuses why Meghan can't do that, because she's shown very much that she doesn't like the royals, and she's, looking after this. She can't do what's going to be necessary in such a big film. And I think you can say that she's going in with a wrong attitude because she doesn't like the royal family. And you can go through several hundred things of how she's been about the royal family, that she's going in with a very different decision about how she's going to show it. She's going to show it about the family that is going to be disgusting. She's going to say it about nobody looking after her or saying, how are you, like you just mentioned before. That's that. And also that she has destroyed Harry. I think you can possibly do something like that, because he is so different from what he was, and he's going in there. He might have a certain amount of absolute rights that he can do, but Meghan doesn't. So you can say that actually I don't want this. And which channel will want to do that?
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. I actually think you're completely right, Angela. That's
Good.
where the appeal should be, actually,
Yeah.
because there are only a few of these companies, and Amazon recently did the big special with King Charles, narrated by Kate Winslet. So there's some type of relationship there. Apple TV did the documentary, with Prince William and Eugene Levy, the star of Schitt's Creek. So maybe there is a chance there, actually, although the view from Hollywood Insiders, Angela, has always been it would just be irresistible to Netflix. The idea of a
I
Diana
don't think.
documentary with Harry involved would be
Also,
irresistible.
I've got something else
Please.
possible. There is Harry. If he does do this, William will never let him do anything for the royal family. Absolutely nothing. So he's got to think about that carefully.
He has to think about the repercussions of his actions, although I think maybe Harry is understanding that the horse has bolted on that front, Angela. I did want to ask you too about this new video of Harry released by the Halo Trust. And it's not so much what he says, Angela, but how he looks. Because Nancy Sidley said on this, Harry does not look well in his latest virtue signaling video. And of course, you know him very well. And so I just wanted to play you this, Angela, and get your reaction to it. Watch.
Hi, Marika. Hi, Alessia. How have the last couple of weeks been?
So like life has turned upside down for the last more than like 2 weeks, and sometimes it seems to me that it's just a like nightmare, and I'm going to wake up soon.
I mean, you're saving lives every single day. I mean, I know you're part of Halo, so that's exactly what you signed up to do. And I know that you're going to continue doing the work that is so desperately needed for Halo, for your families and for your country. How can we help? How can people help? What is the best way for people to help? Because there are so many people watching on feeling completely helpless.
Spreading the safety messages will help. The more people see them, the more people stay safe. You can donate to help our organization as well. That's also absolutely possible.
Thank you for being so brave and being so amazing, and well done.
Yeah, the least we can do. Thank you.
Keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep saving lives.
So, Angela, I mean, of course, it's a very important cause, but do you agree with Nancy Sidley saying that Harry doesn't look well?
He looks extremely ill, doesn't he? There's no life in his face. He's very pale, and it's not really concentrating on things. He sounds as if he does, but he just looks that he can't do anything, actually. He's in a very bad state.
Yeah, indeed. Now, Angela, I have to talk to you about what is going on with Richard Eden, the diary editor of the Daily Mail, who has quite brutally turned on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's daughter, Beatrice and Eugenie. I'll show you how in a little moment. But he posted on X, I've defended Princess Beatrice for years, but after reading the Epstein files, I now feel betrayed. It's time for her and her sister Princess Eugenie to speak out. That actually prompted Naomi Sky 15 to say Beatrice was leaking to Richard Eden. She is the source of all the negative Catherine stories as well. I always thought it was her mother. Of course, we don't have evidence of that, but it's interesting to see how this turning from Richard is being viewed. But he made a couple of videos about this, Angela, explaining his position. So let's just look at the first.
I'd just like to say one thing.
Oh, yes, please.
Completely and utterly.
Come in, Angela.
Yeah, actually, I have never known a journalist who would say, they cheated on me, they told me the wrong thing. I mean, when you're a journalist, you talk to the person. If you feel that they're going to do that, you don't do it, you don't write it. So he's actually saying she's absolutely messed me up because I trusted her. Well, I think somehow if you're a journalist, you're always in, is it 90-10 or 50-50 or something? But it's a very, very brave and difficult thing to say. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, Angela. And it does, I guess, add to this feeling, well, was there something else going on there? Do you know what I mean? Like, was she leaking story? Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. So let's just take a look at the first part.
I feel completely and utterly betrayed by Princess Beatrice, and you too should, the British public. The reason is that I've always been a cheerleader for Princess Beatrice and Eugenie. I've seen them as very sensible and level-headed and wanted them to get more royal duties. Thought they'd be really helpful to their cousin Prince William. But what I've been reading in the Epstein files has really disturbed me. We've been discovering more about what Beatrice actually knew, and frankly, I found it quite disturbing.
And he went on to explain that he now backs the Prince William position, which is actually that Beatrice and Eugenie should be stripped of their titles even and have no role in the royal family going forward. Watch this.